Good morning, listeners. In today's episode, I sit down with Lewis Huckstep, one of Australia's leading voices and coaches on identity, purpose, and human fulfillment. We unpack how childhood conditioning shapes identity, why high achievers struggle with feeling enough, how relationships expose our unhealed patterns, and what it means to discover your authentic purpose. This is not an episode you want to miss. You'll learn how to recognize what's holding you back, reconnect with who you truly are, and follow the clues guiding you towards a more meaningful, aligned, and inspired life. I also decided to include some behind the scenes at the start to show you an example of how I prepare for each podcast with an intention and prayer and calibration of nervous systems with some breath. It's these small details that I wanted to share with you and encourage to incorporate in your own days, to become ever more present in your own life, to cultivate your regulated nervous system and live as intentionally as possible with this incredible blessing we have of life. I hope you enjoy this episode as much as I did recording it. And as always, my gratitude for your support and love for you exactly as you are. You are enough. You are loved, and you belong.
I'd like to start with a prayer, if that's okay
Please,
with you.
let's do it.
Yeah, thank you.
Is this dropping down the eyes?
You're most welcome to, brother. Yeah. O divine creator of all things, we pause in gratitude for this moment and for our souls gathered here. Thank you for the presence of Lewis, for the path that has shaped him, and for the courage it takes to walk in truth, to serve and to share his voice with the world. May I honour him fully, seeing not only what he has done, but who he is. May I meet him with reverence, curiosity, and deep respect for his journey. May this space be one of safety, openness, and authenticity, a place where truth can be spoken freely, where stories can be shared without fear, and where the heart and soul are welcomed just as much as the mind. May we release the need to perform, to prove, or to control, and instead allow this conversation to unfold naturally, guided by presence, sincerity, and trust. May Lewis feel seen, supported, and celebrated. May his wisdom flow with ease, his truth land with clarity, and his essence be felt beyond words. May we remember that this conversation is not just for us, but for all who will listen. May it serve as a beacon of hope to guide listeners to their own light and to the most conscious, loving, and authentic versions of themselves, healing and shedding all that was never them and revealing to them the truth of their own magnificence and essence. May we honour the sacredness of this exchange, the gift of being able to listen and to speak, and the privilege of sharing this moment together. If there is something greater that wishes to move through us, may we step aside and allow it. May this be a conversation rooted in love, guided by wisdom, and offered in service for the good of all. Amen. And I'd invite you together. Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
If you'd like to, we can have 3 nice big deep breaths together.
What a way to start.
Mm.
Thank you. That was beautiful, man.
Thank you.
That was magical.
Thank you.
I appreciate how much effort you put into it. Even the conversation we had on the phone before you, a week or 2 ago, whenever we spoke, you can tell how genuine you are about this. So
thank you, Lewis.
I see that. Thank you.
Thank you for acknowledging that. Lewis, we live in a world that celebrates achievement. Build the business, buy the house, optimize your mornings, become successful. And yet so many people who appear to have everything are quietly asking themselves the same question. Why doesn't this feel like I thought it would? As Tony Robbins says, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. Today's guest is Lewis Huckstep. By his early 20s, Lewis had built multiple successful businesses, achieving the kind of life many aspire to. But beneath the success was anxiety, burnout, and the quiet realization that external achievement could never fill an internal void. That realization became the beginning of a very different journey, one inward, a journey of healing, purpose, relationships, nervous system regulation, and discovering the person beneath the performance. What inspires me most about Lewis isn't simply that he transformed his own life, but that he's alchemized his pain into purpose. Today, he helps thousands of people move beyond survival, beyond achievement for achievement's sake, and towards a life of meaning, fulfillment, and genuine contribution. One that is deeply aligned with who they are, their values, and the unique gifts only they can offer the world. Because perhaps the greatest success isn't building an extraordinary life. Perhaps it's becoming the person you were always meant to be and using that life as a blessing for others. Lewis, welcome to North Star. It is a privilege.
It's an honor, brother. You, I said it just before you read that beautiful intro out. I've been on many podcasts. I think I'm closing in on the 100 podcast interviews, and you've put the most amount of effort in from the start, and it's not even close. The questions you're asking, the prep work you do, the little prayer we just did, the breath we did. I could tell you were conscious with the words you used in the prayer as well, from knowing me and safety, nervous system, and taking 3 breaths together. So, and it's a privilege to be here. We haven't even started, and thank you. I'm sure this will be a beautiful conversation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for acknowledging that. Lewis, I find your story remarkable. Would you mind sharing a bit about what it was like for you growing up, particularly some of the adversities that you faced and where that sort of led you into looking for success or your own enoughness?
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. I was born on Norfolk Island. I need to get some commissions because I keep throwing a lot of marketing towards Norfolk Island. No one really knows where it is. It's a small little island between Australia and New Zealand. The population, I think, is around 2,000 people. So it's a beautiful place for holidays and nature and all that good stuff. But I didn't have the best memories of there in childhood, as I'll get into. I was diagnosed when I was 4 years old with Asperger's, autism, ADHD, and anxiety. They flew me to Australia. I've got some funny stories we can circle back on why I did that. But that paired with my dad being very verbally, emotionally, physically abusive with family members. He would abuse family members, punch holes in walls, yell, and I felt really dysregulated to start with because of the Asperger's and the autism. And then I felt really unsafe around my dad, and he's not the best communicator on the planet, which has made me a better communicator because there's the gift and balance there. And I just really struggled knowing who I was because I got given a lot of labels, and then a gift of the autistic mind or the Asperger's mind is you question everything. Like, why? It's like I'm actually a very slow learner. I was in learning disabled classes. I was the last person in my grade, even though it was a very small school. I was the last person in my grade to get my pen license. My handwriting's terrible to this day. I don't, we run events. We ran one on the weekend, and I've had a whiteboard next to it. I haven't used it in 2 years. It just sits there because I don't want to draw on it because I can't even read my own handwriting. But learning disabled, struggled to understand who I was, really dysregulated, very triggered. And we grew up in Norfolk for, I think, like 7-8 years, and then mum was in New Zealand, so then we'd fly over to New Zealand. I went to 5 different schools. I cried on the first day of school every time I went there because it was a new environment, it was a new setting, didn't know anyone, so it was kind of like trial by fire for some of my gifts. And I also learnt in the journey that if I do well at sport, rugby league being the choice, and South Origin was on last night as well, if I did well in sport, my dad would give me love. And that's where the high achiever started to sprout. Tony Robbins, as you mentioned, I use that exact quote on my slides. So nice pick up. He has a documentary. It's on Netflix. If no one's seen it, go watch it. It's really good. It's called I'm Not Your Guru. And it says right at the end, at the credits of it, it says, which parent did you crave love from the most? Dad was me. Who did you need to be for that parent? An achiever. So if I did well at sport, I'd get his love, his praise, his validation. I was seen. I was enough for that. So it kind of paired this. If I achieve, I get love. with someone who's really just dysregulated, insecure, doesn't know who he is, questioned everything, struggled to build friendships and connect with people. And it resulted in the insecure high achiever who would just go out and achieve things to be worthy and to be loved. And I represented Queensland when I was 15. I built a 6-figure network marketing business when I was 19. I owned 3 gyms when I was 22. And it was just like, what's next? What's next? What's next? It was the goalpost and the mirage just kept never getting there, right? And nothing you achieve externally will fill what's in you within internally. And I hit the sort of dark night of the soul that was around 23, 24 years old, where the businesses were just all, I was like key person risking all of them. I was like not doing a smart entrepreneurial sort of journey, and hit a dark night of the soul. Like my relationship was on the rocks with my partner, not fiance at the time, now wife, but just girlfriend at the time. I thought she was going to leave me. I wanted to take my own life. I was anxious. I didn't want to wake up. And I just wanted to give it all away, and went through that kind of that whole chapter to come out the other side where, who am I? What do I love? What fulfills me? What's my path? What's my direction? What's my gift? And how do I give that back to the world? Because I believe when what you do is the greatest expression of who you are, you do your life's best work. So it's getting clear on purpose, getting clear on who you are, what fulfills you. How do you help humanity in raise consciousness? It is mine as well. And then how do you commercialize that and make it practical? Because I joke at my events, you've got a spectrum of humans, and I joke not the autistic spectrum because I'm on it, but the spectrum being your spiritual people. These people have their crystals on, just like you and me do. They do their plant medicines, they do their ayahuasca ceremonies, they do their breath work, they do their grounding, they do all the spiritual stuff. They sage, we sage our rooms as well. And these people often are very grateful and present, but broke. They can't pay the bills. And then on the other side, you have the hustle people, the overachievers. Alex Hormozi is kind of the poster child of this, where fuck your mood, follow the plan. I don't care how you feel, get the job done. Otherwise, you're not enough. And I started here, and then I kind of swung to the other side, and now I kind of find that happy balance in the middle, where that quote actually stood out to me that you said that success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. And my question's like, well, how do you have both? So my work is essentially putting those two worlds together. How can you actually know what fulfills you, be the greatest expression of who you are, but not just meditate on a mountain all day, actually make that practical, give it back to the world, have plan, have structure, execute, and actually monetize your purpose if that's your path. You don't have to monetize your purpose. That's not a requirement. But yeah, that's kind of, you become who you need to be when you're at your lowest. That's my best one-liner for purpose. So all the things I needed when I was at my lowest is who I become ultimately, but then I help others with that same thing. And then for me, I recommend building a business doing it because it's fun and it's inspiring. So yeah, that's kind of my story in a nutshell, mate. So.
Wow. Amazing, mate. That's a really cool story. And I see that story. You help other people find their purpose through their own story, and you've exemplified that. Where did it lead you along that path of entrepreneurship and the network marketing businesses, the 3 gyms, you're a very young man to go through a dark night of the soul. Yeah. I think a lot of people, we're programmed to look for external validation or for external success.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, when they achieve it, find that that's not the answer, or that doesn't give them the feeling, the fulfillment that they thought it would.
Yeah.
How do you walk with people who are at that point? Is that the junction point that most people come and see you as a client?
Great question. Yeah, I would say we had I don't think I'm the best marketer on the planet. I'll circle this back to it because I'm kind of like, I'm very much coach teach mode. Well, step 1, step 2, step 3, here's the root cause, let's solve it. But since doing some market research with my clients, one of the most common avatars that I seem to attract are people having a midlife crisis. So it's not, they have to come to me at that point. Our youngest student that we had in the room, I think was 17. Beautiful. Her name's Brittany, beautiful soul. And like it's so good just seeing someone that young being that committed to their growth. I'm like, I wish I knew what you're learning in these 3 days at 17. So not, obviously don't have to go through that to come to me. But yeah, it's kind of when, for me, a midlife crisis is when people start to wake up and question who are they, and they've built a life that's not theirs. And it's like, okay, is this all there is? Is there more to life? I'm achieving, but I'm not unhappy. Or maybe there's there's 2 generalized avatars I have. It's the high achiever who's unfulfilled. That's kind of what you alluded to before, the midlife crisis person. Or it's the person who's just stuck in their own stuff. They've hit the glass ceiling. They keep repeating unhealthy patterns. So it's kind of those 2 are the main types of people that we attract. What was your question? I don't know if I'm answering the question.
Yeah, I guess at what junction, at what point in life do most people come and see you?
Yeah, it's generally when they're having the midlife crisis, when they're
Yes.
starting to wake up, or they've had a failure, they've repeating the same patterns, and they're starting to probably turn the lights on and dial up their awareness and ask the internal questions, metacognition, becoming conscious of your own thoughts, thinking about your own thoughts, or self-reflection. Where like I had a call, I think it was earlier today, might have been yesterday. It was today. And I'm like, what was her name? Victoria Garcia had a call with her today, just a clarity call to work with me. And I'm like, hey, how can I help you? I won't share her personal details, even though I just kept her full name. But she said something along the lines of, it's like, I've been repeating these unhealthy patterns and I've started to do some talk therapy. I know it's me. I just don't know what to do. So that's kind of that sort of middle ground where they're starting to ask the questions. Maybe they've done some self-development. I do get some self-development junkies come into my world as well. They just want more and more, which that's me as well. But I think minimum they've started to at least ask the honest question, like, why am I who I am? Who am I? Why do the things I achieve just not hit the spot? What's my path? Is there more to life than just X, Y, Z? So when I think they've pulled up the mirror and they're starting to look at the mirror, that's generally when I'm a good sort of point for them to sort of get into. Or they've done a lot of work and something's not clicking. They're missing a piece of the puzzle. They're probably the two most common reasons people would come to me.
So people reach a point in their life where things aren't working and they recognize that you can lead them, you can teach them the next steps, bridge the gap between where they are and where they want to be. Yep. Is that correct?
Yep.
Before they do that, before they're asking themselves those really insightful questions, I imagine that there's some degree of anxiety or fear or some pretty uncomfortable feelings come up for them. We live in a world where we can escape those feelings at the drop of a hat. And I think that a lot of people do.
Yeah.
How would people who aren't asking themselves that question, but they feel like something's not right, they're constantly feeling stressed or anxious, or they're burning their relationships down, or their health is terrible, like the outcomes are a result of our habits, and so their habits are going to be producing some outcomes that are reflecting their internal world. Yep. When they're just feeling that and they've been running away from that and escaping, whether it's through doom scrolling or alcohol or drugs or pornography or online shopping, how do they bridge that feeling to actually sitting with themselves, which is very uncomfortable for a lot of people, but is fundamental before we can ask ourselves such thought-provoking questions that can then unlock a pathway forward through yourself or another means of growth?
Yeah, beautiful. Beautifully articulated as well. Amazing having a very conscious host. I'm loving this, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I think
it's just performance.
Just got the persona on. Actually, I'm actually I'm stupid as behind the scenes. There's a base level of awareness. You can't be held accountable to something you're unaware of. So there needs to be a level of awareness there, because a lot of people never turn the lights on. They just stay unconscious. What would that look like? I'd say broadly sabotaging patterns. You're feeling some common symptoms, I guess, if you want to call it that. Self-doubt, they're beating themselves up. Anxiety, as you mentioned, anger, stress, unfulfilled, directionless, numbing mechanisms. You just mentioned a ton of common ones. Just their life isn't a quote 10 out of 10, not just from a successful, but from an internal fulfillment. They're not, well, just to use the Tony Robbins quote again, you're not achieving the things you want to achieve because there's some unconscious block stopping you, or you're missing the skill to get there, or there's a level of unfulfillment there. You're feeling anxious, unhappy, sad, depressed. I've never called myself a relationship coach, even though a lot of my content's around relationships, because the reason why I don't see myself as that doesn't sort of land fully for me, but my work is magnified in relationships because they're just such close mirrors to us. They're just intimacy into me, I see. Yes. So a common thing people come to me for, a lot of times the partner has sent the partner my content, and that's a lot of reasons why people come to me. Normally the woman will send the man my content. I've had so many calls. They're like, oh, my wife sent me this video, so that's why I'm here. I'm like, awesome. Thanks for showing up. So some symptoms, sabotaging patterns in your relationships. You get triggered. Everyone has triggers. You'll have a lot of triggers in relationships because those are the closest mirrors to the stuff you haven't addressed yet. So you're probably having unhealthy patterns in relationships. You're lacking intimacy, you're lacking connection. Maybe that's a sexless relationship. Maybe you've got some addictive outlets that you're hiding, as you mentioned a few of them before. They're probably some of the symptoms of it. And then you don't have to wait, because it's like a threshold, as Tony Robbins uses the term a lot as well. It's like people kind of hit that threshold. It's like with health, as an example, you look in the mirror and you're like, I've let myself go. The pants don't fit on, or your partner says, I want a divorce, or I don't love you anymore. Like, a lot of people wait for the sort of like the catalyst to like wake them up. You don't necessarily have to, but it is the case for a lot of people. It was for me, my dark night of the soul. It's like, I want to take my own life. My relationship's about to end, and I'm doing this just so I look successful online. I'm like, maybe there's a different way. Like, that was like the wake up call I needed. So yes, I think everyone will be initiated into it in different ways, shapes, or forms. You probably heard that analogy. It's like life will give you a feather. If you don't listen, it will give you a brick. If you don't listen, it gives you a bus. It's like you don't have to wait for the bus to wake you up. Some people kind of need it. I've had people where it's like, I want to do it, but I just don't really want to. I was like, all right, just wait till after you get shitter. Wait for the bus. Wait for the pain if you really need that. So yeah, you don't have to. You can just start to be aware that what you're experiencing is an expression of your habits, but a level for that would be your identity, because your identity thoughts will influence your habits and vice versa. They influence each other. And just ask the question, am I capable of more? Is this all there is? Can I do more? I like the quote, have you noticed where all your problems are? That's where you are. So if you want to stop repeating those patterns, maybe it's time to look within. Jim Rohn, if you want your life to change, you've got to change. So yeah, don't know if that sort of summarized the question there. But
that's brilliant. Yeah, there's a lot of pathways to go. I wanted to share with you, have you heard the analogy that's used at AA meetings about rock bottom?
No, please.
The analogy that I've heard was, you're on an elevator. When you're an alcoholic, you're on an elevator, and that elevator is continuing to go down.
Yeah.
And the longer you stay on, the worse that your life becomes.
Yes.
And you can get off that elevator anytime.
Perfect analogy. I'm going to steal that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. You mentioned identity.
Yeah.
And it's synonymous with your work. I think it's a question that a lot of people wrestle with.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the fundamental questions that we get to play with as a human being. I love that at the Oracle of Delphi in ancient Greece, across the top of it, before their last test, before they could speak and communicate with the gods, was know thyself.
I didn't know that.
And how do people begin to answer the question, who am I? So much of our identity is shaped by our belief systems, which are formed as children through being raised in a dysfunctional society with parents with their own dysfunction and inherited belief systems and inherited little t, big T trauma.
Yeah.
And when those belief systems remain unquestioned, we wear them as our identity, and yet it's not who we are, right, Lewis? So who are you? Who am I?
What a great question. I've got like 5 different angles how I answer that. So
we need more cameras.
I'll
5 angles.
I'll try like weave them into all the same one. We're getting ready for our 3-day event, literally next Friday, literally a week from now. And I've just finished that refining that section yesterday, so it's very much front of mind. So for me, there's 2 versions of you. There's the authentic self, and then there's the meat suit, which is the human identity. So for me, the authentic self, you call it divine light, soul, spirit, God, oneness, spirituality, or consciousness, sorry. I love that analogy. We're not a drop of the ocean, we're the ocean in a drop.
Beautiful.
So that for me is your true self. At the level of your soul, nothing's missing. So from the moment you're, quote, born into the meat suit, from the moment your body passes, your worthiness, completeness, perfection, wholeness never shifts. It's the perception that it does. And that's where you fragment yourself and you disown yourself and you create the identity with limitations. So there's the authentic self, and then there's the meat suit. And the meat suit, I categorize the meat suit, all of your thoughts, conscious, unconscious mind, perceptions, which is trauma, and the nervous system and body. Some people would say the energy as well, like your chakra centers and your biofield. I personally categorize it the mind and the nervous system, or body. So the body keeps the score. So that's how I categorize the meat suit. I love Joe Dispenza. He says, the human experience is the journey back home to source. So I believe you're born abundant, limitless, whole. then you go through life and you learn that some parts of you are wrong, need to be suppressed and fragmented and hidden, and that becomes your shadows and your shaming and all that stuff. And the journey of life, of the human experience, is to come back home to who you are. Have you seen the movie Soul, S-O-U-L?
No.
Pixar movie, kids movie. It's one of the first movies I'm going to show our daughter when she's old enough for it.
Cool.
It depicts this pretty well. There's some things that shift with it, but it's pretty awesome. You have a meat suit, but underneath the meat suit there's a soul, and we come from source, we return to source. So authentic self, true self. Authentic self, ego, identity, meat suit. The meat suit, for me, we're born abundant, unlimitless, we're programmed out of it. You pick up your beliefs and your perceptions and your human meat suit throughout your life, through your conditioning, through your parents, through your environment, through the things that you're taught and you download. And it's finding out, it's over time, becoming conscious of what are the parts of your identity that are limiting the fullness of who you are. As I mentioned before, when what you do is the greatest expression of who you are, you do your life's best work. So I've got all my slides, looks better than my hands, but there's your true self. This is your true self and your abundant self. But then you pick up an ego that limits the fullness of you. And then the goal, like a straitjacket, is to take off your own straitjacket and let that fullness shine through. It's like that cracker, Michelangelo's quote that gets you your seeps. David, for people that don't know the quote, Michelangelo made the statue of David. And someone asked, how'd you make such a great statue? He said, it was really easy. David was always in the statue. I just removed everything that wasn't him. So your fullness is in you. You're a playful, you can use the term inner child if you want to as well. The full, abundant, whole, express, loving, divine light version of who you are is inside of you. It's just hidden underneath all the bullshit that isn't. Aim of the game, take off the meat suit, allow the fullness to shine through. So that's how I define the two. And then a lot of my work is, I guess, helping people discover that, which is purpose, which is soul's values, and then what's your life expression of that look like. You can do that while simultaneously doing the inner work, which is the identity work. So we do purpose, I have a purpose process. I do values, which is like DeMartini's style of values, which are your soul's expression. Then we use those two things to create the vision for your life and the mission for your life. So that's my direction. That's what fulfills me. What puts a tear of inspiration in my eyes. It's what opens my heart. It's what I feel gratitude and abundance and joy and inspiration. That's why I use the term inspired, live inspired a lot. We can do that without having to do the inner work. But then that your bullshit, your meat suit, is going to limit the fullness of you. So how do we be Peter Crone has a great quote. We are all being the best version of our limited selves. So you got your fullness inside of you, but it's limited by your identity. And then we just want to remove those limitations, allow the fullness to shine through. How do you do the sort of identity work? There's heaps of tools. You mentioned that before. I teach 5 bodies. So this is my current awareness of it. There's the mental body, which is mind, conscious, unconscious mind, beliefs, perceptions, everything up here. You've got the physical body, like the soma, somatics, the issues are in the tissues. You've got the emotional body, that's the nervous system and unfelt emotions. You've got the spiritual body, that's where you're working with souls, shamanism, ayahuascas, meditations. We were talking about that off camera. And then 5th, you've got the energetic body. That's where like sound healing, Reiki healing, kinesiology, sound bowls. We do sound bowls at our events. I don't do them, my wife does them. And I like Bruce Lee. There's no ultimate martial art, only the ultimate martial artist who knows every martial art and uses the right tool at the right time to get the right result. So a piece of my work is how do I become the ultimate martial artist at removing the meat suit? So when someone comes to me, they don't know what fulfills and what lights them up. Let's find your purpose. Let's do your values. And even though you might not be expressing it to the fullest you can right now because you got this over here, let's remove that and allow that gift of you to shine through. I believe we have a gift. I believe we are gifts and the world needs our gift. So how do you give your gift back to the world and get paid to do it if you want to get paid to do it? That's kind of my work in a nutshell. And there's heaps of modalities in there. Like I wrote a book pretty much on all of this work. And I just put it on my Instagram. I just said, hey guys, what's the best like healing technique or process or thing that you've done that's like helped you the most? There was like 60 things I've never heard of. Like I was like, wow, there's a lot more to explore. So I've tried 26 to this day. I'm always looking out for new ones to test out and try out, including some of them NLP, timeline therapy, DeMartini, breath work, energy healing, inner child healing, shadow work, Kahuna massage. Have you had one of those?
I haven't had one.
Magical.
This is Hawaiian?
Yeah, Hawaiian. Well done. Perfect. Love it. It's like it's a very intimate emotional massage.
I have. Sorry, I have had one. Yes.
I
had a huge emotional release in it actually. And I didn't understand why until you pointed this out.
Soma, so physical trauma. I dislocated my right knee 7 times playing rugby league back in the day. And so essentially, paint the scene for you guys. It's very intimate. You're pretty much, well, I was anyways, completely naked. They cover your bits downstairs. She had like incense on, crystals, tarot cards, frequencies playing, and they're doing like a full body massage with you, but it's very emotionally geared massage. She goes towards my knee. As she's massaging my knee, my whole body starts to shake. She's like, what happened to your knee? I'm like, oh, I dislocated it 7 times. She's like, what's the feeling you have here? I'm like, anxiety, fear. She's like, are you okay to feel that with me right now? I'm like, okay, let's do it. And I just like started like fucking crying on this table. And then it went away. Now, you know when you're standing up and people could like hit you from the back of the knees and your knees kind of cave forward? Someone's done that to me and it dislocated my knee. So physical trauma. So I used to, when standing up, when people would walk behind me, I would like standoffish trauma response. After I did that, I don't do it anymore because the soma had let go of it. So I don't do, the main tools I use are mental and emotional. I don't do like body work and massages. We do a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of it. I'm not a shaman. I don't do plant medicine ceremonies. I'm not an energy healer. I do kind of a little bit of my work, but it's mainly mental and emotional. So if anyone has mental and emotional work, come to me. If you want to go do some ayahuascas, go find a shaman. Go do that stuff. But yeah, it's using the right tool at the right time to get the right result. That's going to allow you to transcend your ego. Used the term ego death earlier. To transcend your human identity's limitation, that's limiting the fullness of you so you can be the greatest expression of who you are and give that back to the world. That was a long-winded answer.
So. Oh, it's a fantastic answer. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Everyone has a strategy for your health these days. Eat this, train like that, take this supplement. But most advice misses the most important part. You. Shay is the world's first and leading evidence-based precision health app, powered by human intelligence. Technology that understands the human first. In one simple at-home assessment, Shay builds your digital twin and gives you exact, precise guidance for your body, mind, food, exercise routine, stress patterns, and even your ideal environment. It is the ultimate user manual for your body and health, and it updates as you do. It's been around for 13 years and has stood the test of time in a world of health fads and generic advice. Your greatest investment is you, and for less than a coffee per week, you now have the potential to step into your greatest health. Go to go.shae.ai/SHAE-North Star or click in the show notes. Your greatest health is waiting for you.
Something that came up that piqued my curiosity was you said you mostly focus on emotional and mental, and yet what I hear through the expression of your sharing is spiritual.
Yeah. I think the tools I use for others are mainly those two, but I try all of them. Like I'm like a fiend. I've done ayahuascas, I've done harpe, I've done mushrooms many times, energy healing, chakra cleansing, shadow work, body work, ecstatic dancing. I've done a shame circle. Have you done that shame circle before?
I have.
Trigger.
Bali.
Yeah, you walk. I won't tell the full story. You butt naked in a circle. I was at a men's once. It was all men, and they're like, if you've done this shameful thing, step into the circle. And then they'll invite you, step into the circle, and like examples. Have you ever cheated on your partner? Step into the circle. Have you ever had sex with a prostitute? Step into the circle. If you've ever been addicted to drugs, step into the circle. It's just like to be seen in your shame. I did that exercise. Off topic, I don't think it's the most integrative process on the planet. It could actually perpetuate your shame because you're reaffirming that you've done something bad.
Interesting.
So
I think what comes up for me is Brene Brown. Silence is the environment with which shame thrives.
Yeah. Shame only exists in the shadows.
Exactly.
So I think it's good exposure.
Yes.
Yeah, let's see it. But if you still think something's wrong with you, you're going to perpetuate that story.
Sure.
So let's neutral. Like DeMartini, all events are neutral until someone filters it into polarization.
Yes.
All events are just life.
Yes.
Life is not good or bad. Thinking just makes it so.
Yes.
So if you think, the only problem you have is you think you have a problem. So if you step forward and say, I've done this and I have shame around it because it's bad, yes, let's be seen in it. Let's sort of have the nervous system courage to lean into that, and fantastic. But if you still think that what you've done is bad, you'll still shame yourself for it somewhere else. And you'll get triggered by it. You'll still project it. You'll still repeat the patterns. So I would then neutralize the perception towards it. So there's no judgment there. That's a side topic. But yeah, as you said something about spirituality or something like that.
Wow. This conversation is fascinating, Lewis. Yeah. You are rapid too, aren't you?
I speak quickly. So like this to this, it's like the autism. It's just like, it just flies. Most common feedback I've had from my events is, can you slow down with your speaking? Like, all right. I'll try.
I have a question for you. It loops back a little bit, but it did pique my curiosity. You said that a lot of the people that come to you will be men whose partners have seen your content.
Yep.
It's resonated with them. They've wanted their partner to have the experience of this healing and so shared it with them and invited them into your space.
Yep.
And I have a theory around, we spoke probably off camera about like masculinity and the suppression of emotions. None of us were really taught to feel our emotions fully.
Yep.
And so we cut that part out of us and then suppressed a part of us.
Yep.
Women have their own, inherited intergenerational trauma, but that one seems to be quite predominantly masculine. And I think within that suppression of emotion and cutting off from self, I think a lot of men really struggle to seek help or to believe themselves worthy enough of getting support and help.
Yep.
Do you think that ties into that dynamic of women seeing your work, knowing that how much you could help their partner, and so that's sort of been the catalyst for those men to reach out to you?
In short, yeah, 100%. Like it's societies or religions or politics or countries will obviously have their sort of generalized cultural indoctrination of things, and that was one for me as well. I can resonate to that. Like, men don't cry, harden the fuck up, crying's for pussies. Like, those are all things that I was experienced when I grew up. So I had my own experience of that. So I think it's common. You don't have to. Like, I've had beautiful men come into my world by their own doing. We ran an event Saturday just gone, so like just a few days ago, and one gentleman, he was front row VIP, and his partner had dragged him along, and it was very close. I feel like this the whole time, but he opened up a little bit. He stayed for half the day. He didn't do the full day, but like it was amazing. I connected with him and said, "Mate, I can tell a little bit closed here, but I just want to say thank you for showing up today. Like, even if it's just a little bit of like small hinge moves the big door. Even if you just get a little swing today, brother, a little bit of an opening. I'm grateful that you showed up today. It's like when the student is ready, the teacher appears. You receive what you're ready to receive. So yeah, circling back to your question." 1000%. It makes it harder. Like, I use the term heal. Like, my main call to action on my social media is comment the word heal and I'll send you something. So if I tell the average man in our conditioned society to heal your hurt, heal your wounds, I got nothing to fucking heal from. What do you mean? I dealt with that so many times. I've got nothing to heal from. I've already addressed that, mate. And it's all in their fucking head and they're disconnected from their body. So it's very common. I do very little travel, so maybe it's different in different cultures. I'm not sure. I would I'd assume it would be in different cultures, but in our culture, from my experience, yes, it does happen.
That scenario that you just described about that masculine, I got nothing to fucking heal. A friend of mine, the way that I speak with you is the way that I just think and talk. It's the only thing that lights me up. So it's, it comes out in every conversation. And she said to me, she said, she really appreciated how I'm bringing light, shedding light to things that society doesn't often talk about. And she said, my dad doesn't believe in mental health, but he drinks a carton of booze every night.
Yeah. As soon as you said that, I'm like, I wonder what his mechanisms are. And you just answered it. So like,
right.
Interesting.
I also understand how, because of my own personal experience, how hard it is to hold that mirror up to myself and to take full ownership of the healing, whether it's a worthiness wound or whatever the reason why that's hard. I think that's hard for all of us. There's a level of vulnerability that is very uncomfortable, especially initially before we are sure that we're going to have results and breakthroughs and feel the release of those heavy negative emotions that we've been carrying for so long. And I think some people really identify with, particularly the shame. Yeah. The shame comes from so much, I am the mistake, I am what I did.
Yeah.
And I think it's so prevalent in the world. Brene Brown, again, she says like our Western world is that the three dominant emotions are fear, guilt, and shame. And in order to raise the collective consciousness, we need forgiveness and love. We sort of know this inherently, I believe. Yeah. Within that piece of, I got nothing if I can heal, I'm okay, it's a really big step for a lot of men to bridge, and some women as well, but I see that much more dominantly within the masculine, within the wounded masculine. Yeah. how do we understand that to raise the collective, like we look at the world and the world is a mess, right? It's so dysfunctional. One of my favorite quotes is from A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. He says, the greatest achievement in human civilization isn't our works of art, science, or technology. It's the recognition of our own dysfunction, our own madness.
Yeah.
We recognize that the society that we've created collectively, we've created over history, is very, very dysfunctional.
Yeah.
We look at mental health, we look at suicides, we look at women giving birth and then allowing daycares to raise that, to get back into the economy, to earn money, to be this, to have this level of success that we think we need to be, and really self-abandoning our truths and what is actually going to bring us the fulfillment or the purpose that gives life its real meaning.
Yeah.
And within that lostness is a lot of fear, guilt, and shame. Something else I wanted to share before asking you a question. I have a question that I ask myself and I ask people. I'll pose it to you. If you were the king of all your people and you deeply loved your people and your people were humanity, all of Earth, is this the world that you would want for them?
Wow. Great question. I asked a similar question to my guest. I said, if I gave you the keys to the castle, how would you change the castle? So the question is, if I was king, is this what I would envision for my people?
Well, it was sort of rhetorical, that part, but I guess the question relating this back to the masculine, the wounded masculine, it's fucking scary, Lewis. It's really scary to hold up that mirror and search inwards, which is why it's so easy to search outwards. To just create presence with ourselves and stillness with ourselves, to sit alone. And to really understand, who am I underneath all of these thoughts, underneath the illusions, the ego, the I must be this in order to be worthy of love. How do we individually and collectively be the change that we wish to see in the world to do this? Because like I said at the start of this conversation, I believe that this umbrella term of raising the collective consciousness, this is all of our purpose. It might be expressed through creating a beautiful piece of art or a marble statue of David, or it might be beautiful music. It might be raising a really loved and cared for child. It might be cleaning up the environment or planting trees. It might be designing beautiful green architecture. The expressions are as unique as we are, but I think if we can look at it through that overarching umbrella, we can recognize the solidarity in the humanness of contribution and impact, which is, like, I recognize is so central to who you are as a man and your work. How, as a continuation of that, how do you see us contributing individually and collectively to raising this collective consciousness?
Purely to the masculine or to all?
Great question.
Because you started with the masculine.
Yeah, I did.
But then
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Yes, because I see the wound there. Maybe I've experienced it through my identity as a man. And I see that wound more prominent within society.
Yep. Look, I think that healing is genderless. I think the process of healing, in the tools that I use anyways, is not limited to gender or race or ethnicities. Like the processes are like, how do you heal? The process is still the same. How do we initiate and kind of like move towards that as a society and get people to be more open and to address the stuff that's within that we think we shouldn't or we're too scared to, as you're mentioning. I think it takes courage to do it. So that's why, like, I had another call with a gentleman client of mine. He is, I won't use his name, he is the toughest client I've had as a man. He's he'll know if he's listened to us. He knows who he is. He owns a mechanic shop. Aussie as they come. How the fuck are you, mate? Fucking mate, I'm fucking like talks like a sailor. Super Aussie. And I have one of my processes. It's called a balancing process. It's built upon DeMartini's process. I've just added extra tools, multiple tools into it. And the processes can be challenging because until you make the unconscious conscious, it controls your life and you call it fate. So the questions in my process is to bring awareness to the unconscious. So you, by nature, you don't see the answer until you see it. So, but he gets frustrated because he can't see the answer. Like, brother, this. You're at the forefront from gold. You're so close to this. And we did. It was early today at 10 a.m. this morning. I was taking him through the process. He hit the wall. He's getting frustrated. Like, brother, I just want to celebrate you because I'm asking you questions that 99% of people will never be asked, and most of those people won't be willing to answer them. You're having a challenge right now. You're at a block right now. It's like going to the gym and feeling discomfort. You're about to grow. Take a breath in, get centered, breathe into your heart, answer the question. People who know me, I click when I do it. Answer the question. And he found it, had a bit of a shift. He's like, oh, I didn't see that till just then. Awesome. Look again. What else? And just kept going through it. So it does take a level of awareness. It takes a level of courage. That's why I celebrate people who walk into my rooms. When we run our event, we say, who here? It's your first ever self-development seminar thing you've ever attended. People put their hands up. Normally about sort of 20, 30% of the room. It's their first time. I was like, can we all give these people a huge round of applause? It takes so much courage to walk into a room like this. Because when I started my first workshop, I thought it was a cult, thought it was a scam, thought it was going to be soul shit the entire time. I had the walls up. I was skeptical as hell. So it's like, it takes so much courage to even walk into the room. So I just want to celebrate all of you guys. I also say, we have like agreements we go through. One of them is to hold a safe space for everyone in the room. So if we catch anyone judging, maliciously, doing anything negatively towards anyone in this room, you'll be kicked out of the room and never welcomed in our rooms ever again. I don't care how much money you offer us. You're never welcomed in our room again. So I'm pretty staunch with like the safety and the container for the people. So it takes the person awareness, can't be held accountable to something you're not aware of. It takes courage to do it. You may have to wait till life to get so painful for you to actually wake up to it. You don't have to. I recommend not waiting that long. I think it also takes an example though. It's like Kerwin Ray changed my life. I don't know if you know Kerwin.
I do.
So
yeah.
Changed my life. Kerwin Ray, if anyone doesn't know him, he was he's passed. And he changed my life. Like he ran a mastermind. He was a very successful entrepreneur, a very just an amazing human, a father, proud father. And I joined his, so in my sort of hustle porn period of life when I was doing the gyms, I joined his mastermind when I was 21. So I'm like quite young in the room, one of the youngest in the room. And I was like, hustle, like achieve. I must be worthy, and anti-crystals, anti-spirituality. And he was an example of like hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, successful, fit, good looking, he's a father. And he was into like trauma and healing and stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like he's successful and he does that. So I think that example, especially for men, it's like someone that you can respect and like, maybe there's some truth to here. Maybe I can lean into this. Alex Hormozi, a great example. Did you see that podcast with him and Tony Robbins?
I sure did, mate.
Incredible.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. And I really admire his courage to post it.
And then they've just fallen pregnant. Don't know if that's coincidental with that, but maybe that's in there somewhere.
Yes.
But perfect example, I think, is of Tony and Alex, where Alex is like, he's like the poster child of like, I don't care about your feelings, just work. I don't believe in trauma, just work. Like the work just needs to be done. And some spiritual people who meditate all day need a bit of that energy. It's like, you're not going to manifest your goals if you're not taking action. So it is right time, right place. But I think having like Tony, who I think is such a great blend of this, that's why I'm a big fan of Tony, is he's got the success. He's a billionaire, but he's also got the trauma, the tears, the fulfillment, the happiness, the fatherhood, the marriage. Like he's a beautifully balanced human. I'm sure he's got his shit, just like every other human. But seeing like Alex have someone who he can look up to and admire and be an inspiration. So I think what the world needs more of is people like you and me, brother. People like you who actually are an embodiment from what I've seen of them. Obviously met you today, but like within 2 seconds of me saying hello to you out the front, like you could feel the groundedness in you. You could feel the presence in you. You could feel the work that's gone into the man that I'm looking at today. And people would look at you, like I looked at him, I'm like, fuck, he's fit as, he's got fucking a vein popping down his bicep. He looks well dressed. He articulates like a motherfucker. This guy's inspiring. And for a guy who's like, oh, you just need to make more money, it's like, wow, that's inspiring. I would love to lean into that. What do you do? It's like, hey, look, I do this breathwork stuff. I do this thing. Maybe you can join me. So I think it requires examples of what's possible. And that's why I celebrate every man and woman, because we have a lot of ladies that join us, who do this work, because you're not just helping yourself. It's a ripple effect. You drop a pebble in the pond and it's just like the ripple and the ripple and the ripple. It's every single person who sees you. Every single person who listens to one piece of content on the internet from you. It's the one person who listens to this podcast and they have a shift and then they show up differently for their partner tonight. It's like, I think that's what the world needs, man.
God, that's so good. Can I share something with you that's come up for me?
Please.
My first coach, he said to me, to follow on that, having a model and an example, he said, possible for them, possible for me, just a matter of how.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, my hero growing up was Nelson Mandela.
Cool. Awesome.
I've always, we inherit some things from our parents, and then some things are uniquely ours. Now I recognize it as our soul.
Yeah.
Our soul brings something unique. And what I really love, have you been to South Africa?
I've done very little travel, so, but no,
right.
Short answer, no.
So to sort of summarize South Africa, most people know about apartheid, the separation between the whites and the blacks in South Africa. But you go a level deeper than that, and the whites there's two dominant groups there.
Okay.
There's the English and the Afrikaans.
Yeah.
It's different language, different background, and some animosity and conflict there. And then within the groups that they call the blacks, Africans, there are several, I think 7 or 9 dominant tribes, each with their own language, their own culture, their own, their own feel.
Yeah.
And then they have what they call the coloureds, and these are, it's an Indian influence, and then it's interracial as well. And so it's a very, very, very divided country. Yeah. And the example, I look at the world and go, there's so much division in the world, Lewis, and it doesn't make sense to me. You look at like the gender division between men and women, you look at the left and right versus on politics, and the ego mind goes, well, they're different to me, and so they're the enemy, right? Without questioning it. And I think I've just always felt like we're all brothers and sisters.
Okay, man.
What do you mean? I've had family on either side of the wars, the world wars. Wow. And I had this unique perspective of going, well, then it doesn't make sense to fight. Yeah. We're all the same. They both would have loved me had they have gotten to know me. I'm their kin. Yeah. I am their blood. Yeah. We are all one. And so I look at like Nelson Mandela as an example and go, the man's been put into jail for 27 years. And emerges and only speaks of love and unity. We are South African. Like, despite our differences, actually it's our diversity which makes us strong.
Love this.
And so he was interviewed about it, and they say, like, how are you not holding on to bitterness and resentment? 27 years, it's a lifetime. He said, they had imprisoned me for 27 years. If I held on to bitterness and hatred, they'd have me for longer. And I look at that as an example of what Mandela achieved with South Africa is entirely possible on a global scale.
Yes,
this is for me, for my understanding of raising the collective consciousness, it is to remove the illusion of separateness and to remember the truth that we all belong to one another. And when we can start showing up for one another and treating people as equals, as the truth that's underneath that, that's when I believe that humanity can be risen and people and planet can be put ahead of profit. That's when we can change the world. That's when we can all give people what they nourish them on a fundamental level and give them what they need. Like so much of your work, everybody needs this. Everybody has the example of, that you so eloquently put, about the illusions and the fears and the beliefs, and just removing those to just become the true essence of who we are. Carl Jung, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And I think we all feel it. I think we all feel it within ourselves, and when we can tap into that place, we're filled with such energy and passion and creativity and enthusiasm and joy. The more conscious that we become, I believe, the more love that we have, both for ourselves and then to radiate that to our brothers, our sisters. And I think you mentioned earlier about like children. I think one of the most beautiful things about children is that those layers haven't been created yet. Those illusions haven't been created. And so you don't see division. You don't see racism. You just see the purity of joy, of presence, of love, and being a father. My question for you, becoming a father now, like what a privilege that is. What has love taught you that success never did?
Oh, That was amazing, by the way. That little spiel.
Thanks, brother.
That was incredible. I'm gonna watch this back and replay that section over a couple of times. I didn't know that. I didn't know the complexity of South Africa. That interests me. And very similar. It's like,
is it not representative of the wider world?
Yeah.
This is what I saw. Is it's just representative on a country level what's happening geopolitically, and we're the same, and we have these incredible. One of the things that I feel so blessed for, particularly when I sort of finished high school, I was able to travel extensively. And I visited all kinds of places, ate all kinds of food. I ate tarantulas and crickets and, camel. And I went to Africa 7 times, and I went to, Japan, and I went all through Europe. And, I met Germans and Japanese, and these 2 generations ago, they were so alienated from our culture as the enemy and almost sort of downgraded as human beings. And we recognize them as just magnificent people, especially the Japanese, such respectful, humble, incredible culture. And so I distinctly remember when I was in Turkey, I had a man from Iran. And he didn't speak much English, and his wife was there with him, and she didn't speak any. And my wife and my sister were shopping, and so I was exhausted from shopping, Lewis. So I stopped at a little Turkish, coffee shop. Coffee's very, very strong. It's not my cup of tea, pardon the pun. And we had this really beautiful conversation. And in my head, the programming that I had, the condition that I had about Iranian people were, the regime and the oppression and sort of the fear around it through the propaganda. And this man was just grounded, wise, like a beautiful stillness and essence. And when we finished the conversation, he asked me, he said, "Would you mind if I prayed for you?" I said, "Of course." So he stands up, he puts his hand on me. I close my eyes. And he speaks to a God whose name I didn't know, in a language I didn't understand. And all I felt was love. And I think, what is humanity unless it's love? Unless it's understanding, putting down our divisions, the illusion of separateness, remembering the truth that is underneath all of that.
Do you know the Rumi quote?
I know lots of Rumi quotes. Love Rumi.
It's not how do we find love, but how do we remove the barriers we've built in between it, to some degree. I'm not sure I'm butchering that, but there is love. It's kind of the ego example again. So how do you access love? It's not how do you access it, how do you remove the things you put in place between you and it? That's kind of what I'm hearing with what you're saying.
It's been a really interesting conversation, though.
We've
only got a couple of minutes left. Given where the conversation has sort of dived and ducked and turned, is there any sort of final message that you'd like to share with listeners on their journey? Perhaps this has piqued their curiosity. Perhaps they have recognized that they would like to start their journey or continue their journey, or some of the blockages that they've been experiencing or feeling. What message might you have as a
few? So continue the journey. I think the greatest investment you ever make is yourself. So continue to invest in yourself, whether it be skills to achieve more or to continue to look within and remove those blockages that are masking the fullness of you. And just try different people. That's why I like podcasts. It can introduce you to new people. Like Cohen Ray used to have a podcast, and he introduced me to Peter Crone. He introduced me to DeMartini. He introduced me to some other people who've significantly changed my life. So continue to just taste and experience other people out there. Like, you may have listened to this conversation and you're like, I like what Lewis says, but it's not really my vibe. Thank you for your time. Like, there may be someone else who you resonate more with. I learned from people who there would be teachers and preachers and mentors and coaches out there that 2 people share the same thing, and one person you don't resonate with and some person you do. Like, keep going until you find your people, and maybe you've had a good experience today. I love follow the breadcrumbs of inspiration. It will lead you to your destiny. If I had one line, I would lead that, because you mentioned to it, it's revealing it to you. It's like, it's at that part puts a tear of inspiration in your eye. When you experience tears of inspiration or awe-inspired goosebumps, where like you have the truth bumps that come through you. That is a breadcrumb of the universe leading you towards your destiny. Listen to it, follow it, be curious about it, lean into it. And then the other side of the spectrum, the glimmers, the triggers are revealing the meat suit limitations. So follow the glimmers and the breadcrumbs of inspiration, because that's what's pulling you towards your future, your vision. And then be conscious of the resistance, the triggers, the projections, because that's revealing the meat suit part that you can work on and address and dissolve to allow your fullness to shine through more. Those would be my final messages.
Amazing. Lewis, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, brother.
Brother, what a beautiful conversation. This is beautiful. Thank you, man. I'm going to listen to this back a few times myself. You've got some wisdom in you, man. So I look forward to consuming more of your content and understanding what you do.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Come here.
How good was that?
Oh, man.